Health.Finance is a software platform that helps hospitals to address high deductibles and procedures that may not be covered by insurance by creating a payment plan that is based on the patient's ability to pay, that is predictable, and that can be put in place even before the procedure is performed. We utilize some data from the patient's financial history. We can look into that patient's account. We can look into some non-traditional credit bureaus, aggregate the data. We can also utilize some machine learning and to be able to predict, based on the data that hospital has, to be able to predict with a certain degree of certainty what is the outcome and which patients will be able to pay, which patients will be able to perform on that payment plan. So we take all the data, kind of accumulate it, and spin off a payment plan that works for that particular patient and is also within the parameters that are acceptable for the hospital. Also, as a phase 2 for Health.Finance, what we provide is a marketplace where hospitals on one end can put up their receivables, those payment plans that they've created. They can put them up to the market for sale with a discount, kind of like factoring, and we'll have financial services companies, banks, investors coming on the other end willing to purchase that kind of receivables with a discount. And basically what the system does, it matches the two and allows hospital to sell some of those receivables and allows investors to invest into those receivables. So in terms of competitors, yes, there are a few companies out there that are providing somewhat similar service as Health.Finance, but where I feel we are different is that we are addressing that part of the population that is otherwise underserved by other companies who are focused more on the traditional lending. In other words, yes, there is few competitors out there that provide financing for the procedures, but they are looking more for those prime customers who in most cases will have a credit card or can apply for another credit card that they'll be able to utilize to pay for the services, which still leaves a very large portion of the population underserved, because in other words, what happens to those people who will not go through the risk profile of those traditional lenders. They're still left out there, and hospital will have to finance their procedures themselves, or rather leave them with those large bills that those patients most likely not going to be able to pay. Really a lot depends here on the hospital and on how granular they want to be in setting up payment plans and setting up criteria for those payment plans. Our advice, our recommendation is usually to start with something simple and kind of build as you go, because you can always add more options, you can always streamline your underwriting processes. We're able to do that along the line, but we'll always recommend to start with something simple just so you can get those options, get those payment plans out and help your patients. In terms of some specific numbers from our end, we'll move quickly. You can get started in a matter of couple of weeks, literally, but where we see the longest time is, and as they say, it's a gift and a curse, because the system is so flexible, because we give so many options. Some clients really get carried away with customizing the system, customizing the offerings, and that's where we see a lot of time being spent. So Health.Finance is the platform for hospitals, which allows them to quickly and easily build payment plans for their patients. And one of the features, which is a part of the system that we've built, is the chatbot functionality. It provides huge value to the hospital, really cuts on their expenses on the customer service, and takes care of those unwanted calls and requests that they always have to take, where patients are calling and asking when their next payment is due. Our product in Health.Finance, we have that functionality where a patient can log in online and can see all of that, but we try to make it really simple for the consumers, and we here really catering towards the growing population of millennials, where we allow them to communicate with the platform, with the system, by whichever method they feel fits their needs at any moment. So we built a chatbot functionality utilizing AWS services, and it can be plugged into almost any transport, any means of communication that consumer prefers. Nowadays, everyone is used to online banking. You can pull out your cell phone, you can get access to your account online from your mobile device. You get text messages on transactions that you process on your credit card. You can apply and open a bank account without talking to anyone, completely from your computer or from your mobile phone. So when they come to the hospital, looks like they stop becoming consumer and become patient, and they're being deprived all of those tools that are used to when they're dealing with their finances. But when they become the patient, they don't have any of those things. Everything's on paper. Payment plan that some hospitals do provide have to be filled out by hand on paper, and then the best part of it, many hospitals require you to fax this information over to them. So that felt like a huge disconnect in the healthcare space, a big void that we saw. And what we tried to do is to apply our experience in the financial services space, our experience in the fintech, and basically build that same user experience, that same consumer experience that is a mainstream, that is very common when it comes to banks and financial organizations, basically transfer that over to hospitals and healthcare organizations.